Welcome back to The Explainer. I've got to say I am incredibly energized for this one, because today we're looking at a breakthrough that genuinely redefines our entire relationship with the universe. We are talking about the very first solid-state quantum nuclear clock. Now, you might be sitting there thinking, well, I already have a highly accurate clock on my phone. Why do I care? But see, scientists have just engineered a device that's less about telling you when you're late for a meeting and way more about allowing us to actually feel the invisible fundamental forces of reality itself. So get ready, because the implications of this breakthrough are just absolutely massive.
Okay, let's dive into this. To really wrap our heads around the sheer scale of what was achieved in June 2026, look at this number: 14 billion years. That is roughly the entire lifespan of our universe, stretching all the way back to the Big Bang. The nuclear clock technology we're unpacking today is so unimaginably precise that, theoretically, if you had started this clock at the very dawn of the universe, it wouldn't have lost or gained a single second by today. Not one. It is, quite literally, the ultimate metronome.
Section 1. The ultimate precision timepiece. So how do we get to a point where we can measure something with such flawless precision? Let's take a look.
I absolutely love this quote from physicist Chris Oates at the National Institute of Standards and Technology. He says, "We don't even know what time is, but we can measure it really, really well." I mean, it perfectly frames the mystery we're dealing with here, right? Time is this ancient, contradictory thing. We experience it constantly, every single second, yet defining its fundamental nature remains super elusive. But in physics, time isn't just a dimension. It's the foundational baseline we use to define pretty much all other fundamental units of reality. Up until recently, we've measured time using atomic clocks, but our precision, it just took a massive quantum leap.
Let's move to the timeline and see how this builds. If we trace the rapid evolution of timekeeping, we start in the 1920s with quartz crystal oscillators, where an electrically stimulated crystal vibrates to keep time to within, about a second a day. Then by 1949, we jump to the first microwave atomic clock, based on oscillations in the ammonia molecule. Fast forward to the 2000s, we hit optical lattice clocks, using visible light lasers to trap thousands of atoms in grids to read their oscillations. And now, June 2026, we cross an entirely new threshold, the solid-state nuclear clock. We've shifted from the atom itself, straight into the very core of the atom.
Section 2. Atomic versus nuclear timekeeping. Let's map out the specific quantum mechanical differences between the old method and this new frontier.
Now, what's really interesting about this comparison is the fundamental shift in the actual forces of nature we're tapping into. Think of traditional atomic clocks like this buzzing, electric, neon blue world. They rely on the electrons orbiting the outside of an atom. You hit those electrons with a laser, they absorb the photon, and they jump between energy levels. And that jump, that acts as your pendulum. But those electrons are governed by electromagnetic forces. Nuclear clocks bypass those outer electrons entirely. They go straight into the vivid, glowing orange core of the atom, the nucleus itself. Down here, we're measuring the jumping energy levels of protons and neutrons, which are bound together by something entirely different, the strong nuclear force.
And the crazy thing is, this isn't just theoretical math on a chalkboard anymore. As physicist Thorsten Schum at TU Wien points out, in some types of measurements, we're already outperforming all of the atomic clocks. This was reported in June 2026 by independent research teams at both TU Wien in Vienna and Tsinghua University in Beijing. They didn't just propose this, they physically built it, they turned it on, and it ticked. The real-world impact here is immediate.
Section 3. The thorium-229 crystal engine. So what exactly did these independent teams build? Let's look at the incredibly specific anatomy of this new device.
Meet the undisputed star of the show, thorium-229. If you scan the entire periodic table of elements, you will find only a single type of atomic nucleus that can be used to make a clock like this. Literally just one. For a nuclear clock to actually work, the nucleus has to mesh perfectly with the wiggling electromagnetic webs of a laser's light. Thorium-229 happens to be the only atomic nucleus with an energy jump exactly the right size to be probed and stimulated by a laser. It's like the perfect resonant engine for this whole cinematic clock setup. Let's break down the physical components of this ultimate metronome. At its base, we don't have some giant clunky vacuum chamber. Instead, we have a solid calcium fluoride crystal. Infused directly into this crystal are our star players, those thorium-229 atoms. Finally, the entire system is regulated by a vacuum ultraviolet laser. But the absolute key, the real magic trick here, is the feedback loop. The laser hits the nucleus, causing the energy jump, but the laser itself has to be frequently readjusted based on the outcome of those measurements to keep its frequency perfectly locked in.
And that feedback loop is precisely why this is making such huge headlines right now. As physicist Lars von der Weinses says, this was the final missing step before calling it an actual clock. Because prior to this, scientists had shown that the laser could interact with the thorium nucleus, sure, but without that continuous feedback loop locking the frequency, it was just a really brilliant concept. Now, the loop is closed. The clock is officially ticking.
Section 4. The solid state advantage. Moving from a concept to a ticking clock is amazing. But why does moving to a solid crystal matter so much? And this brilliantly illustrates the leap we're making. Traditional atomic clocks demand that atoms be suspended in cumbersome, massive vacuum chambers, often chilled to near absolute zero. They are incredibly sensitive to stray electromagnetic fields. I mean, even tiny fluctuations can completely ruin the measurement. But our new nuclear clock, it operates entirely within a solid-state crystal. The nucleus is heavily shielded from external electromagnetic chaos by the electrons surrounding it. This means the form factor transforms from something completely cumbersome and delicate into something sleek, robust, and highly portable.
Because of this massive physical advantage, there's practically a global race underway right now. Shiqian Ding from Tsinghua University confirms it, saying, "Nuclear clocks have become one of the most actively pursued frontiers." The scientific community knows that having an ultra-precise, portable clock that is highly immune to electromagnetic interference, it opens up doors we couldn't even knock on before.
Section 5. Hunting for dark matter. This is where we bring the narrative from the micro out into the macro.
I want to pose a question that kind of shatters our preconceived notions of what a clock is supposed to do. How exactly does a tiny solid-state crystal clock hunt for invisible dark matter? We're talking about the massive, invisible substance thought to pervade our entire universe, yet it's entirely evaded direct detection. How does a timepiece help us find that?
So the crucial point is right here in these 3 steps. Remember, an atomic clock measures time based on the electromagnetic force, right? While a nuclear clock measures time based on the strong nuclear force. The numbers that determine the relative strength of these forces are known as fundamental constants. If you run both of these clocks side by side and compare their ticks over time, you can actively search for microscopic variations in those fundamental constants. If the 2 clocks begin to drift apart in a very specific way, well, those variations could be the direct result of the gravitational tug of ultralight dark matter passing right through the Earth.
And this is exactly why we have to completely reframe how we view this technology. It's not just a timepiece anymore. It is a new cosmic sensory organ. By isolating the strong nuclear force inside a crystal of calcium fluoride, we have literally engineered a brand new way to feel the invisible fabric of the universe. In fact, Thorsten Schum's team at TUVN has already used this clock to perform an initial search for dark matter, proving its sensitivity rivals or even beats traditional atomic clocks.
We are standing at the absolute beginning of a new era in precision metrology. This ultimate metronome is now ticking, and it's doing so with a stability that can outlast the current age of the cosmos itself. So I'll leave you with this provocative question. What other invisible forces will this ultimate metronome reveal about the fabric of reality? As the precision of these nuclear clocks scales up in the coming years, we are going to be able to test the very laws of physics in ways we quite literally never thought possible. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep your eyes on this space because our understanding of time and the universe itself is really just getting started.